Hi, thank you for allowing me time to present. It's great to be here today. I'm Ewan Griffiths. I'm a consultant upper GI surgeon from Birmingham, and it's great to talk about the OGAA study, which was the OesophagoGastric Anastomosis Audit in this young ISD session. I've no real relevant disclosures that affect this talk. The outline of my talk is I want to really emphasize the power of collaboration. I'll talk a bit about the published papers we got from the OGAA study, really championing the collaborative authorship model. And I'll tell you a bit about some of the ideas we've got for the future. So, I mean, traditionally, surgical series are very much single center. Usually involve quite long time frames involving single operations. In some ways, they are quite homogeneous, but they have some faults. The data capture is often retrospective, and there's missing data. They tend to use the standard top-line authorship model, and overall, they have limited publishability. In comes multi-center collaborative studies, really in surgery, championed in Birmingham in the West Midlands Surgical Society. And these tend to be snapshot audits. Heterogeneity can be a strength because you can analyze different factors. They tend to be prospective, but they can be retrospective. And we can use them to compare techniques and outcomes as a natural experiment, but they're never quite as good as a randomized trial. And of course, the authorship model is different because we need to acknowledge all the people in the hospitals collecting data, the national leads, etc., etc. But I think I'll show you these types of studies have excellent publishability. And if we wanted to do something similar in my own centre in Birmingham, this is our esophagectomies and gastrectomy data for the last 20 years. It would actually take us 20 years of resectional numbers to get even near the OGAA study in terms of numbers. And this just isn't really feasible. Things change, things are different, staging changes, treatment changes. And this is why multi-center studies are clearly the future. So the OGAA study, OesophagoGastric Anastomosis Audit, we were very happy with our recruitment. When we set out, we were a bit worried we wouldn't get centers involved, where it was, in fact, we advertised widely. We were very inclusive. We didn't turn any centers down. We didn't have any minimum volume. And as you can see from the map, we got places around the world we didn't realize we're even doing esophageal surgery for cancer. So we've built a fantastic network, which we continue to use today. The study's old now. The recruitment was from April to December 2018 with 90-day follow-up. We had 2,271 patients from 140 hospitals, 43 countries, and we had 673 collaborators who are all named in our papers. To kick the study off, we did a unit survey of facilities and different aspects of surgery. This was published in the World Journal of Surgery. We did kick off with our study protocol, which is important to do. This was kindly published in the Disease of the Esophagus. And because we had a network, we had a nice platform to do quite a nice anastomotic Delphi on research, priorities, and different aspects there. But it's only until the last few years our papers have really come out. Our main outcome paper was published in the Annals of Surgery, and I've got some slides on that. We had a very nice global outcomes paper looking at the differences between low, middle, and high income outcomes published in EGSO. And we also had a comparison paper to the Dutch data set and Don Lowe's ECCG data in the BGS Open. But because we captured things that other data sets don't really capture, such as we had nice data on trainee involvement. And you'll be pleased to hear that esophageal surgeons around the world are actually training trainees very well. There was minimal differences in outcome, and there was evidence they were selecting the right cases for training. Because we had nice data on chemo and chemorad, we also used the data set to publish again in the annals, looking at the short-term outcome differences and histopathological differences with FLOT versus cross chemo-RT. And again, we also published on textbook outcome, which you'll know is a composite measure looking at quality. And the textbook outcome for esophagectomy is having clear margins, adequate lymphadenectomy, no major complications, no return to theatre, and a fairly short length of stay. Our anastomotic technique and outcomes paper was published in an American thoracic journal, showing real minimal differences in technique, but certainly more leaks in hand-sewn cases, and definitely more leaks in the neck. Our most recent paper is a Carl Leak Delphi, again using the power of our network to build on different projects. This is just some short results on our main paper, looking at the rates of anastomotic complications after esophagectomy. We graded leaks into type 1, which is treated medically, type 2 treated with stents or sponge or some form of interventional radiology, and type 3 requiring return to theatre for surgical treatment. And overall, the leak rate was 14.2%, much higher in neck anastomoses, 20.1%, and the type 1 leaks managed with conservative measures was 7%, type 2 3.4%, and type 3 managed with surgery 3.8%. And the overall rate of conjugate necrosis was 2.7%. Luckily, most were treated without disconnection. Disconnection rates were 0.8%. And this just shows a comparison between anastomotic leak rate and conjugate necrosis. If you had an anastomotic leak, you had a 15.8% had an associated conjugate necrosis. And this is looking in reverse, where if you had a conjugate necrosis, 83.3% had an associated anastomotic leak. So you can have a necrosis without a leak, but that is 17%. And we showed that the outcomes for these grading of leaks were higher leaks were associated with more evidence of length of stay, ICU stay, poor outcomes in terms of the patient leaving hospital being able to eat and drink, and readmission, mortality, and morbidity were much higher going up the severity of leak. We showed that leak management strategy varied, and we looked at primary, secondary, and tertiary management. Luckily, most patients with a leak got adequately treated with their first treatment option, but there were patients that needed secondary treatments, and even patients need tertiary treatments. And this might be shown a bit better in this alluvial flow diagram, showing that as you go down the leak management algorithm, and if you keep on failing, you generally do badly. And we probably need to look at guidance for surgeons on who to treat with different treatment modalities. This is just to show our authorship model. When we write these papers, we have a writing committee, and we name the steering group. We also list the national leads and the author list at each site. and the collaborators are all listed here, and you can see there's 671 surgeons all listed and recognized. So we do have some things that we're working on and yet to be published. We've done a bit comparing different data sets to try and work out the effect of COVID on OG surgery. This has been submitted. We're also writing a paper on minimal access versus hybrid versus open. And we're trying to develop an anastomotic leak conjugate necrosis risk score, really highlighting that once you've got a high quality data set with minimal missing variables, you can publish a lot on it. How much did this cost us? Well, it cost us minimal. It was mainly funded by charity. The website cost less than £1,000. We got RedCap for free. And luckily, the University of Birmingham set about doing some data transfer agreements for us. And we had an NHS statistician. What we're going to do in the future? Well, we're considering, can we do a randomized trial? Can we improve our data capture nationally? Can we move into gastric cancer? Can we give surgeons live KPIs, quality improvement indexes? When they submit the data, can they get an output? I think this is very exciting. We would like our registry compatible with other ones to make sure we're friendly to surgeons submitting to other data sets such as NOGCA and other national registries. Get involved, tweet us, look at our website, email us if you want to get involved in the future projects. We'll be happy to hear from you. And I'd just like to say thank you to the steering committee and the national leads and all our collaborators. And if you have any questions, please do email me. I'd be delighted to hear from you. And I look forward to taking any questions you have. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.